Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Martinez Jr., and today I am joined by TJ from the Boxing Syndicate. What up, TJ? And we got a new face of the channel. We got George from Off the Ropes. What up, George?
What's up, man? How you doing? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day. And that's the reason why Through the Ropes is not here. Ruben from Through the Ropes, he wants to be on, but it's Mother's Day, schedules conflict. But we do got a lot to talk about because yesterday we had Canelo versus Bivol, and it did not go Canelo's way. First time since 2012 it didn't go his way when he fought Mayweather. So I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the fight, and was it really an upset?
Yeah, man.
So you can go first, TJ.
Go ahead, TJ.
So it was it is a loss. Whether or not whatever we think, what I mean. But whether it's an upset or not, I don't know. I mean, he did move up. It's not his weight class. You know what I mean? He's just challenging himself, trying to take out some of the best in each weight class he can. You know what I mean? So it was a challenge. We knew that from the beginning. It was a challenge, but at the same time, almost everybody still had him winning. You know what I mean? But like I said, it was a challenge for him, and it showed, the size of Bivol, the way he was able to take the power. The power didn't look like it phased him barely any. He was able to counter off that, get some shots off. So, I don't know. I don't know if 175 is the right move. We'll see if he takes that rematch. You know what I mean?
I hear you. What about you, George? What you thought of the fight?
So, I'm sure you guys seen from social media, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, like Twitter. You had the ones, this is a cherry pick for Canelo. Oh, this is going to be an easy fight. Or you had the ones that were actually unbiased that were like, look, you know what? This is actually going to be a legit challenge for Canelo. For the first time you can see him actually challenge since the Triple G fight. And that was my thought going into it. I wasn't ready to be 100% sure on actually picking Canelo because, first of all, you want to see how he's going to do at 175, a prime light heavyweight champion that's active, that hasn't lost, that knows how to implement his size. He's got good feet. He actually has some pretty good speed for being a fighter at light heavyweight. So those were a lot of the things for me that I was trying to wonder how it was going to go. The first 5 rounds in a traditional Canelo fight, you're usually like, okay, you know what, this is where he's going to pick it up. He's just kind of filling it out, and he's going to dominate from there. That never happened last night. It was tough to see, for me. Like, my dad was a big Canelo fan. Me, I'm a boxing fan in general. So, of course, since my dad was a Canelo fan, I'm going to join the army a little bit and want to see him win because, right, he's chasing greatness. He wants to unify a second division, 175. He's done it at 168. So you want to see that, especially for us, right now, we're witnessing history, if people believe it or not. Like, we're witnessing one guy trying to unify his second time, his second weight class. So it was just, for me, it was a little tough to see, but it's kind of what I expected. Like, if Canelo wasn't able to dominate or able to adjust, that's exactly where I imagined it happening. Bivol implement his size. And then I wouldn't just say entirely his size. Like, there was skill there. You saw Bivol jab,
Definitely.
right hand. He didn't stay in the pocket when Canelo was trying to exchange in combinations, and that's what you saw the other guys do. It's like they froze up once Canelo started throwing combinations. They got hit with like 2-3 shots. Like, Bivol was taking him off his arm. Maybe a couple of shots to land, but there was nothing there that was a threat to Bivol. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do you guys think of Canelo actually fighting off the ropes a lot? He had headed back to the rope and was at times egging Bivol to come in for the counter, and Bivol didn't take the bait. Was that a stamina issue or a tactic on Canelo's part?
I feel like I've seen him fight off the ropes a lot in his previous fights too. I feel like he's comfortable there. You know what I mean? But obviously, in my mind, I don't think any fighter just wants to be on the ropes. But obviously,
No.
he wanted, he was trying to egg him on, probably to try to, see if he could give off some counter shots off the ropes or something like that. But like you said, Bivol just wasn't going for it, and that was smart on his part, just to, some of the tactics Canelo was doing, in my mind, like when I was watching it looked like he was just aware of his plan. He knew what he was coming in with, he was just able to capitalize on it. And like you said, his skill showed he could really fight, and he used his fundamentals. He's not really flashy; he's just really fundamental, and it worked.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and he didn't let the moment get to him either. Like, he came out to boos from the crowd. It was clearly a pro Canelo fight, and he had shown no emotion for 12 rounds. Just stuck to the game plan and got the W. I'm a huge Canelo fan myself. Like, I'm actually wearing my Canelo shirt on today because, you win some, you lose some. But when I called the prediction, I saw like you, George. I thought it was going to be, for the first 6 rounds, I thought Canelo was going to be down. I probably thought like 4-2 Bivol. But he's been shown that he starts slow, figures an opponent out, and then just starts methodically breaking them apart. So I thought 7 rounds to the championship rounds, Canelo's just going to, pick apart and rally late to pull a close decision. I did not agree with Canelo thinking he did enough to win yesterday. His output was way too low. I think he only had 1 round was double-digit punches landed. And this was actually the lowest output in a 12-round fight for Canelo since the Mayweather fight.
Wow.
So there's no way he was going to win with only like 84 punches landed the whole fight. So my friend who I was texting the entire fight, he was just like, Canelo's tripping, thinking that he won that fight. He did not win that. And the judges were tripping too. A mutual follower on Instagram, Boxing with B, I was joking with her because she posted a story saying that the judges got it right. And I told her, like, no, the judges got it wrong. Bivol won wider. It wasn't 7 rounds to 5. It wasn't a close fight. Like, I gave Canelo 4 rounds, and that's because I was looking for some Canelo rounds to give to him. I could easily have seen that 9-3 Bivol. It was just a master performance, using the jab, never really letting Canelo, get to him.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And that was for me too. Like, I was trying to be generous. Like, I wanted to give Canelo rounds, but he wasn't going to win a fight throwing off a left hook to the body, right hook to the head. Like, he needed to do a little bit more, and that just showed Bivol's power and his skill. Like, Canelo was a little hesitant, and I don't think it was smart for him to go to the ropes. And I think he was trying to fish for, hoping to land something to get a rally in there a little bit late, but Bivol wasn't falling for it. He was smart. I think Bivol probably did a lot of studying of tapes and saw exactly what Canelo does. He knows that he was trying to bait him into the ropes, but he played it smart, man. That was a great performance. I mean, for me, I think this was probably one of the so far first quarter of 2022. Like, for me, this was probably one of the top 5 performances in boxing right now. It was the Bivol against Canelo.
Yeah, for sure. Because Bivol backed it up. He was talking a lot about Canelo's human. He's lost before. I got the skills to hand him another loss.
Yep.
And he did. What really impressed me was his back foot. He was fighting off the back foot very, very well. And didn't freeze up when Canelo was throwing those combinations. Yeah, really great defense. So I don't now, as far as where each fighter goes from here, let's start with Canelo. Should he pursue the immediate rematch with Bivol or go a different direction?
Yeah, see, that's what we were talking about a little earlier. I think it's banquet. I think it goes really similar, like it just went. You know what I mean? If that happens, now you got 3 losses, and then now you're looking at. I think obviously you go back down anyway. You go back down to 168 or whatever you're gonna do then. Then now you're just looking at, what can I say? Well, I mean, I know he's still gonna be able to make big fights with Canelo, but I just don't think he wants to take that 3rd loss. But I mean, he said he's going back for the rematch. I want to see it, but I don't think it's a good idea to just go right back into it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think for me as a boxing fan, you would want to see, of course, the rematch. But for hardcores, it's like, look, we already this is what you probably will see in a rematch. I don't know what Canelo could do. Maybe try to, go to the bite a little bit more, but I just think Bivol was prepared for it. And that's why you didn't see him overexert his game plan. He stuck to it. When they say fighters have different, plan A, plan B, plan C, Bivol also had only, he went to plan A, and he didn't have to change from it. So, man, I mean, I wouldn't want to see a rematch, man, because I feel like we're going to see the same thing. I'd rather see him stick at 168. There's plenty of fights there that unfinished business. I mean, you could name anybody from Charlo to Benavidez, to even Andrade. They're there. The names are there, man. So I think he should just stick to 168. And to me, he looked a little soft yesterday, like his body, like, you know, yeah, he made the limit, but he looked a little soft for my liking. I didn't like him for his body frame to be at 175.
And I'm gonna throw another question at you guys because I've been seeing this narrative around a lot as well. So Canelo before this fight switched to a vegan diet. Did that play anything into this fight, this vegan diet?
I don't know. I don't think it probably played too much of a part. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it's a lot of guys that have a similar diet to that are doing fine. I just think the weight jump was just a lot. Like you said, he was looking a little soft. I think it was just a lot on him. You could tell he was looking a little fatigued, a little tired. I think it was just a little bit on him, you know what I mean? And then having to go, obviously, 12 rounds, and then you going 12 rounds with a monster, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I just think it was a little bit wear and tear on him, at 175.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spot on, guys. I think this is in the long run is going to be a good thing for Canelo. He was, in my opinion, I think getting a bit big headed for my liking. Like he was calling out Usyk at 201 pounds and saying he's going to beat Usyk, and I was like, come on, Canelo, come on. And he also fell in love with his power. He's been getting I think 3 consecutive knockouts. So I didn't really see the jab against Bivol. He was looking for the knockout the entire time. So maybe with this loss, he goes back to boxing basics because he's a good boxer, definitely like world class. So he can definitely get back on there. And I do think the play for him, which would be go back to 168 pounds and defend there. He can still get the Triple G fight at 168. There's Charlo, Benavidez. And the sky's the limit at 168 for him. If he goes to Bivol, I just didn't see anything that he can do differently to really beat him. I think he's the wrong style for him. All right, now what about Dmitry Bivol? He is now. If you didn't know about him, you definitely know about him now. Where does he go from here?
I think in my mind, I would think he thinks as himself as top dog, at least in 175 right now. I mean, even though Canelo is not, a natural 175, that's not his division, you know what I mean? I think he still has that mindset that he's still top dog. It's just another win on the resume. And then really, it's really a hard fight. He's really a hard fight for anybody. I mean, obviously, he already beat Joe Smith. Better Be would be a good fight, but I mean, they have a really similar style. So I think I would like to see that one. I think that'd be a good challenge for him. But I mean, for real, I think anybody at 175 is gonna be really tough to beat him. I think.
Yeah. There's names. You know what? If you think about it, at 175, like Canelo is the name that goes around, right? He just put 175 even more on notice, even though he didn't win. Like he put the spotlight on 175, which is awesome to see. Like every division he touched, the spotlight was on him. The only place for me is the winner of Better Biev and Smith, and we know what happened against Smith. That one for me is a tough one to pick, but either one of those two guys, the winner, be a great fight, rematch or Better Be versus Bivols.
I agree. That's my preference as well for Bivol. Go for undisputed at 175, get that Better Be versus Joe Smith winner. That's going to be a huge fight at the end of the year. If we can make that happen. I know Canelo has a lot of money, and if he does take the Canelo fight, I think he should drop down 168 and go fight for those undisputed titles. He already beat Canelo, so he's got to go to Canelo and say, what more can you offer me? And I think undisputed at 168 will be really attractive for Bivol, and big payday. So maybe that's the route.
That would be crazy.
That would be wild. If he was to go down, try to take all his bets,
Yeah, and then there will be no more of light heavyweight was too big for Canelo, because I do think that it is too big for him. I think 168 is probably Canelo's max weight, and kudos to him for chasing greatness. He's was never one to back away from champions at higher weight classes, but. It's boxing. Yeah. You take the wins with the losses.
In today's game, you're not gonna see too much of that. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of guys in the 154 to 168 range trying to go fight a light heavyweight. You're not gonna see too much of that. You know what I mean? So you definitely gotta give your props to him. It was a challenge, and it just showed that he might. Even though we consider him like the greatest of the generation, he might get a limit.
Yeah, he's got a limit. Yeah. He's human, guys. He's human.
Yeah, great stuff.
All right. All right. Any closing thoughts?
No, man, it was a good fight. I was happy to see that. Again, it sucked to see Canelo lose, but hey, man, you know what? It was a win-win for him, right? He went in there to chase greatness. He came up a little bit short, but if anything, you know, if you're a hardcore, you were gonna respect exactly what Canelo was trying to do. So,
100%, man. 100%. All right. Well, before we close out the show, TJ, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can follow me at the Boxing Syndicate on Instagram. I'll have all the stuff on there, and then we'll be putting out more stuff daily too. So just check us out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, TJ. And then George, where can people find you?
Same thing. Instagram. You can find us at Off the Ropes Boxing and MMA. We also have our YouTube channel, Off the Ropes Boxing MMA. You know, subscribe, like, and you know. Again, I appreciate coming on the show, said TJ. I know now the face to the Boxing Syndicate, so, you know, I'll be reaching out to you guys, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for making the time during Mother's Day. Again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and more boxing to come. Thank you for making the time, guys.